it's me Amber and I'm back with another video. So yes, I have been gone for a while. Please read the description for the rest of the explanation, but I don't want to spend too much time talking about that because today's video is going to be my weekly routine. This video is different from the others. I don't normally do routine videos since I mostly do tips, but I have a lot of additional tips that I mentioned in this video, so I highly recommend you watch through it. Now, my weekly routine consists of all the things I do on a weekly basis, and today is the day where I do all of that. So I put my entire schedule together in one video, and hopefully you take away some things that you can add to your routine so you can maximize your resources and get the best out of your farming. This is going to be quite a long video since I have a lot to do, and a lot of it will be sped up just for the sake of watching, but I highly recommend you grab a snack, sit back and relax, and enjoy the video. So let's get started. Here we are starting in Inazuma, which is where our commissions are today, but the first thing I usually do when I log in is I check the map for how much resin I have. Now, if I already have max resin, I would go and condense some just so that it's not sitting while I do commissions, but as of now, I do not have max resin, which means I can continue on with the day. Before I usually start commissions, I like to switch to my friendship team. Now, before I used to complete my commissions with a different team and then switch when I claim rewards, but now I just like to complete it with my friendship team entirely. As you can see, this team has no synergy. It's full of unbuilt characters. Well, some of them are unbuilt like Yaoya and Clorinde, but mainly I'm just here to collect their friendship EXP. As you can see, their friendship is not maxed out, but they are close to it. However, I did realize that doing commissions actually does grant you quite a bit of friendship XP that I don't want to miss out on. So if you are able to make a team like this where they are just built enough to fight some normal enemies, then I highly do recommend that. So let's get started with our first commission and navigate to that. With commissions, I kind of just do them real quick, like I speed run through them, but the problem is friendship teams make that process really slow, especially if they are unbuilt characters, which is why on days where I need to rush, I wouldn't use my friendship team and I just use a built team instead, which works just as fine, except you just don't get that additional friendship rewards if they're already maxed out. Honestly, this team has no synergy whatsoever, so there's no rotations I follow. It's just use everybody when their skills are available and try not to die and get hit. It's helpful to have one healer at least so that you don't have to keep using food all the time, or at least one steady DPS that can do some damage so that you're not tickling the enemy all day. The difference between this video and my daily routine video, which I posted a little while ago, is that this video goes into more depth of what I do weekly, so I can show you all the rewards I get, such as bounties and weekly bosses and all those other weekly things, because those do give quite a few good rewards as well. Okay, that commission is complete. Let's move on to our next one. But I probably need to heal up first because my healer is not that good. Also, the last routine video I posted was quite a long time ago, and there have been so many updates for quality of life, and I'd like to include those in this video because those new updates actually do help the efficiency of your farming routine. I love how it just auto-navigates commissions, or you can just claim rewards faster and expedition rewards and everything like that. It just is so much more helpful, and I'd really like to include those in this video. Also, I've made a few adjustments to my farming routine so that everything flows more efficiently and smoothly, and so that I'm not letting my resin sit at cap, or I'm able to manage my resources better. Okay, I genuinely hate this commission because I always get caught. And I was right. The thing about using a friendship team like this is that a lot of your battles could take longer, and one thing I really notice is that if I'm fighting hard enemies, the battles take a lot longer. If all your characters are at max friendship and you don't have any characters you can use for friendship team, then just use the characters that do a lot of damage so you can get these done really fast. Even though commissions are the daily staple, they're not really what I spend most of my time on. And it's time for our last commission. Also, it's really helpful if you have one of those characters that makes exploration faster, like Yelan or Kazuha, just so that you can manage the terrain really quickly and you can just speedrun everything, like Sayu. Just those characters that movement speed is increased, because it is not fun running across terrain without these characters that have those passives or skills. Another piece of advice I have about deciding where you want your commission locations to be is the resources that you need, specifically the mob drops of the character. So for example, if you know that you need enemies from Fontaine for characters, like if you need those sea creatures and everything, then choose commissions that are in that area because the chances are you will have to fight mobs that drop those things. And it just makes resource collection a lot easier because it's practically handing it to you there and you don't have to make an additional stop. You just have to be in that area, fight the commission, and you get the drops. Also, to plan ahead, if you know that the next day is going to be busier, then choose commissions in a place that's really, really quick, like Mondstadt. I just know that if I won't have time the next day to farm, I'm going to set my commissions to Mondstadt because the chances are Mondstadt commissions are really quick and really easy, and the mobs are not going to be complicated at all, and I know I can fight it a lot faster. So those are my 2 commission tips, and now that we've finished all of them, I'm gonna go claim the rewards, but I'm going to actually go over to Liyue because I will show you what I have there. So here we are in Liyue. I'd like to address this, which is the crystal fly trap, which I placed a week ago. I'm gonna claim the crystal flies that I've put here. And as you can see, I got 15 crystal cores. This really helps because I don't have to go and find crystal flies in the wild. I know it's not a lot, and honestly, I probably go through more than I get. It's just handy having it there already, and you can just claim it whenever you feel like it. Also, if you're deciding where to put this down, put the crystal fly trap somewhere that you go frequently. Like, I'm gonna put it in Liyue Harbor because I know that it's close to a teleport waypoint, close to a crafting table, and close to commission rewards. So I'm gonna just drop the trap here again. So here it is. I'm just gonna put it down, and then I usually just pick what I have most of. Like, I have a lot of crystal chunks with me, so I'm gonna put the maximum amount of those. Crystal chunks are so easy to find, you can find them out in the wild, but because I have so many, I'm just gonna put this down. So this really just takes a week, and I'll pick it up in a week from now. But let's go on to where we were trying to go to, which was the commission rewards. Make sure that you have this friendship team on that you're using to fight, and claim commission rewards. So I got my Primogems, Mora, and the XP, but then also while I'm here, I'm gonna claim my expedition rewards, and I love this button. It wasn't here back when I did my first video, and it's just so handy. Also, choose characters that have bonuses. It's more helpful that you choose the characters that have like a doubling bonus or will give you more resources rather than the ones that cut time down, because honestly, I claim my commission rewards and expedition rewards at the same time each day, so having a shorter expedition time doesn't really add to anything because I'm not gonna go and claim them in the middle of the day, and it's really not worth my time having 2 schedules based on the characters with the passives that make time shorter. It's just better to choose the ones that give you more rewards for the long expeditions. So now we've done all the daily things, and let's go on to the weekly things. So the first thing I'm going to do is check the battle pass, because the battle pass is like my checklist of what I have to do. Now I'm going to claim the rewards I have here, and because I chose crystals to be farmed in my expedition, I already checked off the mine 10 items and I don't have to go out and do that. I'm gonna claim my artifact XP, but then I'm gonna go over here, and as you can see, one of the things is cook 20 dishes. Now this is such an easy thing to do, so I'm gonna do that. And also it's a good supply of food so that I always know I have food handy with me. So I'm gonna go over to One Man Restaurant and cook those 20 dishes. If you're wondering what dish to make, a lot of people make attack food because they like to do attack boosting like showcases and everything, but for me, I just love making universal peace. This dish gives you so much HP back, and it's really easy. The resources you can find anywhere. Just choose dishes that are easy to make and give you a lot in return. Like if you know that you have a lot of meat, then you can make northern apple stew, or if you know you have all these things, that's really easy. Obviously, don't make things that you barely have any of. Like I don't have any of this kind of nut, and I wouldn't make that because it's just difficult and I don't want to farm the resources. So that's why I'm gonna make universal peace, and I already have it on auto cook, so I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna cook 20 and make sure I have a character with that passive so I can get more food too. And there we go, I've got food and I've checked something off the battle pass, so I'm gonna claim that reward as well. Another thing I do, and this is also why I like Liyue Harbor, it's because everything is so close by. I'm gonna go over to the ironsmith and I'm going to forge some crystal ore. Now I made some yesterday, this is why I'm claiming it, and I'm making a new batch, so I'm gonna claim this tomorrow, but this is all stuff that I made yesterday. So if you have a routine, you can kind of schedule when you're gonna claim all these things. So I'm gonna claim all. Now this ensures that you have a steady source of these enhancement ores. The only issue is that you will need to have the crystals in the first place, or or something that you can use to craft it. Now listen to me on this, do not spend resin on crafting this. There are so many better things to do. Resin is not worth crafting these crystals. Instead, I just use the crystal chunks to create these enhancement ores. Also, there is a maximum limit on how much you can craft per day, so I highly recommend you do the highest level instead of these ones because it's better to spend your limit on things that give you more later on, such as this one rather than this one. Now, instead of waiting for these to forge up, I'd probably just claim them tomorrow or later tonight if I need to. But let's take our attention away from that and move on to more weekly habits and routines I do. Now, usually when you think weekly routine, you think weekly bosses, which is exactly what I'm going to do. Now, beforehand, I had already planned out which bosses I need to fight for what resources, and these are the following. I had planned to fight a Pep, Arlecchino's domain, and also the Narwhal. And since I have enough resin for those, I'm gonna go and do them now. The best thing you can do is do these bosses when you have time. Like, you don't have to do them all in one day, one after another. Sometimes if I am on a tight schedule, I wouldn't do them all at once. I've been really enjoying using this team so far. Even though it's not necessarily the best team, I still have a lot of fun using Farina and Navia together. So the way I decide which bosses I'm going to do is based on the characters that I'm building at the moment or planning to get. So if I know that a character needs a certain material, I will go and farm that. Or if I know I'm building a character that needs a material, I will also farm it then. Weekly bosses take a lot more time to farm, unlike artifacts or talent domains or ascension materials too. So that's why pre-farming these weekly bosses is pretty helpful. These fights with the long animations kind of take a while, and I don't do the most damage individually from each character because you have to do this in a rotation. This is also one of my Spiral Abyss teams as well, so I'm kind of getting used to it by playing this team. My opinions about these weekly bosses are that they're getting more creative, and some of them are getting tankier, which is definitely the case. But I think after a while of doing weekly bosses, it takes less and less time, because I remember taking so long on this fight because I did not know how to do it. I didn't know the attack animations and patterns, and it would take me so long just to finish one fight. If you're wondering if you should do these bosses in co-op, it really depends, because if you know who you're going to be playing with, like if it's your friends and you know that they are really good, then definitely doing in co-op speeds up the process by a lot. But if you're co-oping with a bunch of random people, it can really change your experience. Because I know that sometimes the people that you co-op with make the experience a lot more difficult since you have to deal with their builds and stuff. But if you are in a hurry, I just do not recommend doing a co-op session because sometimes waiting for people to enter the domain and be ready just takes more time than the fight itself, which I've experienced. And if your Wi-Fi connection is also pretty bad, it might not be the best option. My Bennett died, by the way, so I'm just reviving him right here. This is probably what I made that universal piece for in the first place. If you're one of those people that gets bored really easily of doing these things because of how long animations take and you just need something to entertain yourself, I recently discovered Opera GX, and no, this is not sponsored. I just genuinely found it really interesting how you can play a video on top of Genshin. So sometimes I just have a video right here in the corner somewhere, and I'd be watching that while doing these bosses as these animations happen. It makes this battle process seem a little bit less draining because I know doing all these repetitive actions can be quite time consuming and really boring. Normally I do not need more than one phase to do this, but I think it's because the team that I'm using. I only chose to use this team because I wanted to practice with it more. I don't normally fight with this team. It's better to use teams that are really well built for weekly bosses so that you spend less time in the domains in the first place. Okay, so I did get these weekly boss drops, but I did not get any dream solvents or anything that good, honestly. This artifact, not the best, but I still got what I needed. So now we are going to move on to our next domain, which is a Pep, and hopefully this takes a lot less time since there's only 2 distinct phases and you don't have to keep switching between realms like this one. And I do think it's about time we switch up the teams, so I'm going to pick this team, which I've been working on for my other half of the Abyss, and they are pretty good. They clear things really quickly. Originally this was a Taser comp with Raiden instead of Farina, but now it's just pretty much a Hydra DPS team. I genuinely really like this team because of how easy it is to run and because how everyone really synergizes pretty well with each other, and it works well in the Spiral Abyss too. I am planning to make another video about Spiral Abyss later on, so do stay tuned for that because I have found out a lot of useful tips since I've been doing Spiral Abyss more often and understanding how it really works and the best methods for team building. Having Neuvillette is such a game changer because I can clear things so quickly, and he's so easy to build because he just scales off HP, and a lot of my bad artifact rolls end up being in HP, and I have artifacts that already suit him. Okay, time to claim rewards. And it looks like we got a dream solvent, so let's go. We can add that to my collection. And I did get the thing I wanted, so thank goodness for that. Artifact I got from this, not the best. I probably would not use this. Okay, and finally we are on to our last boss. Now for the Arlecchino boss, I actually have not fought this many times. I think I fought it twice, and one of them was with a friend that basically one-shotted everything. So I kind of forgot what teams to use for this. I think I'll go with this team and just have Kokomi there. This definitely does not synergize well, but honestly I'm really just trying to get through this fight and stay alive for the most part. I really love using Kokomi. Her healing is so consistent, and she is so easy to build as well. It seems like there's a trend with characters that I like. I just like the ones that are really easy to build and easy to play too. If you're a player like me who does not want to worry about rotations and everything, characters like Kokomi and Neuvillette, they're all really good for those. Okay, we finally finished that battle. It honestly wasn't as bad as I had thought it would be. I think I kind of like using this team. It might not be Navia's best, but it still does the job. So let's claim rewards. And looks like no dream solvent this time. But we did get the things that we needed as well, and our artifact looks pretty bad. Let's leave the domain, and I'd like to move on to the next thing that I do. But first, I'm going to claim this mission in the battle pass, which does give a lot of XP, and it looks like we got a free wish here. Now, if you do remember back in the days, if you checked this mission menu, there would be an option for doing bounties and requests, but now that they don't have that, the only real benefit that you get for completing those bounties and requests is the reputation XP. As for me, I still do need reputation XP, so I'm going to choose the region that I need the reputation XP for. For example, mine is Fontaine currently, and I still need to do Cimeras, but I'm going to prioritize Fontaine, but I'm going to talk to this person over here and get the requests first. So once I put all these requests in my quest menu, I don't have to come back as often. You'll see what I mean later. Now for the bounties, I'm going to choose the highest level bounty because they're not really that difficult. And then I just check what the enemy is immune to, so I won't have that type of damage dealer in my team. And then once I check the map, I'm going to go teleport over there. Depending on where you are in your Genshin journey, if you still need bounties and requests, then I highly recommend doing them each week. But if you're at the point where you have max EXP for reputation, then there's really no point in doing these. So only do this if you know it's going to benefit you in the long run and you're not just doing it to waste time. If you are the kind of person that thinks reputation is a waste of time, I will tell you now that it really isn't, because the reputation allows you to get the treasure compass, and if you haven't explored that area yet, having a treasure compass is kind of helpful. And also there are other rewards such as the name cards if you're interested in that, and also other gadgets that increase your quality of life. Okay, so the first bounty is complete, and what I'm going to do is check the request menu. As you can see, they're a different color. Thankfully they did that now, and I'm just going to check if there's anything in that area because I don't want to have to teleport to the same location twice, and as of right now there aren't any in that area, but I'm going to go and give these request items and fight these request enemies first before I go back to claim my next bounty. Even if you are really busy, doing requests still give you a pretty good amount of Mora and also give you XP for reputation. So if you don't have time to do bounties, still do requests because they're really simple. All you have to do are fight enemies or give items to a person, and it's super quick. Here I am heading to my next request location, not bounty. I haven't claimed the bounty rewards yet. I'm gonna go and do that. But first I want to complete these requests. And the reason why I do this is that I can check how much reputation XP I have, which will determine which bounties I do, but normally I will just do the highest level bounties, and I just found out that it minimizes my teleportation time if I do the requests while I'm still out here. So there we go, that request is complete, and now I'm going to do the last one. And here we are at the location of the last request. If you have a good team, these should not take you a lot of time at all. However, I do remember back in the days where I would have to do really difficult bounties. It's best you bring a friend along for those, but if you do not have a lot of friends that play Genshin, you can ask for help from other players to complete a bounty for you. I have my Discord server linked in the description if you want to find people to play with and if you want updates on new videos. Okay, that was the last bounty. I'm gonna go to reputation reward and teleport to that place again. So I'm gonna claim rewards for those, and as you can see, I have maxed out Fontaine XP. I'm gonna claim the wind glider, and normally I would just keep going with all of these here and I would do the highest level bounty, but as you can see I don't really need to anymore for this, so I'd only recommend you continue these bounties if you still need EXP. But as it shows, I've already completed it, so I'm not going to go dig into more of those. Also, here's a piece of advice if you're choosing which city to do the bounties and requests for, and I really recommend you listen to this piece of advice because it will save you a lot of time. So if you have multiple cities like Sumeru, Fontaine, Liyue even, or Inazuma, and you still haven't maxed out reputation level, prioritize the location that has the highest amount of completed quests, because remember that these quests give you XP. So if I already maxed out Fontaine XP and claimed these, it would be pretty useless. But if my quests were all complete and I just added the extra reputation level, then I would save a lot more time and it would take less time to finish bounties and requests to max out my reputation. And also choose the place that was the most explored for exactly the same reason. Looks like I also got an achievement, so let's go claim that. Here we go, level 10 Fontaine, and I also recently just completed the Natlan Archon quest, so I'm going to claim those achievements too. And we also have the one from today. Honestly, I think these wings are pretty cool, so I will definitely be switching to those. Okay, so we have done bounties and requests that we need for the week. Now it is time to go and use resin. So earlier I did have some condensed resin that I saved up for this purpose, as you can see right here, and also I have this resin here. So as of now, in terms of resources for each character, I already have farmed up what I need to. I just need to do artifacts. So I'm gonna head over to the Navia artifact domain because that's what mainly I'm looking for, and we're gonna go and farm that a few times. If you're farming artifact domains, just condense your resin ahead of time because then you have to farm the domain less and it's less repetitive. Depending on who I'm raising at the moment, I would farm those required resources. Like if I'm farming for Navia, then I would farm Navia's talent books if the domain was open that day. But since I don't have any characters that I need talent books or weapon ascension materials for, that's why I'm farming artifacts. But always prioritize weapon ascension materials, talent ascension materials, and character essential materials way before artifacts. I mentioned this in a previous video, but these things give you guaranteed upgrades. So the resin you're spending is going to give you an overall benefit to the account. Looks like my artifact inventory is full, so I'm going to raise a few pieces. I'm going to roll this crit rate circlet and hope it gets crit damage, or something good that I can use. Okay, it rolled defense. I'm going to stop right here. This one's a geo damage bonus goblet on set, so I'm going to try rolling this as well. I'm going to see if I can get more crit damage or ER. Okay, please crit damage rolls. Okay, flat attack, not exactly what we were looking for. We're gonna have to tap into our 4-star resources. Okay, we got one crit damage roll. I think we're just gonna go to max 20 and hope for the best. And we got another crit damage roll, so that's amazing. I don't think it's worth changing this goblet that I already have. The only good thing is that it's on set, but it does not have crit rate, which I really need. So I think I'll just leave this in the inventory for now and maybe change it later. But let's claim those rewards. I'll use my condensed resin like I said, and looks like I got the wrong set. See, this is what I mean by primarily use your resin first on guaranteed upgrades. Farming talent ascension domains and weapon ascension domains, those give you guaranteed upgrades because you know that you're going to be raising your character's talents and stats. However, artifacts, you are not guaranteed what you're gonna get, so you might get something really, really bad, but you've wasted all this resin. That's why it's best to prioritize what you can control before what's out of your control. I've always farmed this way and it seems to help because I know what I need to improve. After I've maxed out the character's full potential in terms of leveling, such as base level and weapon and talents, once I've already maxed those out, then I know what I else need in terms of artifacts. Looks like we got another batch of bad artifacts. We'll do this domain one last time and then we're gonna move on to the next thing. Okay, last run, let's hope for the best. Okay, time to claim rewards for the last time. Let's hope for something good. Looks like we got pretty bad things today. It might just not be our day in terms of luck. But let's leave the domain and move on to our next thing. I can claim this mission from the battle pass, which is pretty good because it gives you primos and artifact XP. So that is pretty good. Okay, now it's time to answer the question that a lot of you might ask. This fragile resin right here. I've got a lot of fragile resin and I don't seem to be using it. Well, the main reason why is because I just don't see yet a time that I need to. I will probably use this resin if there's a character I really want to build, or if I know that I'm on a tight deadline in terms of raising a weapon. As you know, there are these event limited weapons. You can see here that there's a time limit on the bonus that it gets when you're raising it, but since you only get a certain amount of resin per day and the domains for getting these ascension materials are only open on certain days, if I'm on a really tight schedule, then I would use my fragile resin, because that means I could get all the resources I need so I can level it up within that bonus period. But other than that, I wouldn't normally use it unless there was a character I'm really waiting for. Again, it's your account and you are in control of what you do, so use the fragile resin when you see fit and when you think it's beneficial. And I already have made videos in resin management, so check those out if you do need some advice. Okay, lastly, I'm gonna go into the map and actually go to my teapot. Thankfully, you can just teleport directly. You don't have to go into your backpack and put out the pot and everything. That was so annoying. But now they seem to have made it easier. I'm gonna plant some flowers in here so I can pick them up later. I'm just doing this for really no reason other than I can collect it later on. But I'm here to actually visit Tubby as usual. And I'm gonna first go into my trust rank. I'm gonna claim the friendship EXP that I have for these characters. Looks like Tighnari just reached 9. And also claim realm currency. Okay, great. We've added that. Now I'm gonna go into the realm depot. Also, it seems like people have been asking how you can access the teapot. There is a quest that you need to do after the Liyue Archon quest to be able to access the teapot, but if you have finished that quest, then you should be able to access it really easily. So the one thing that I always buy is Hero's Wit. This is where I get my consistent source of Hero's Wit per week. The shop does reset every week, so make sure you come here weekly. I'm gonna buy out the max amount of Hero's Wit and also the Mystic Enhancement Ores. I'm gonna buy the max for those too. Everything else I do not touch. I do not buy Artifact XP or Mora or any of the other things. Some people do use transient resin. Now my opinion on this is if you know that you need resin and this is your last resort, then do it. But sometimes based on people's busy farming schedules, they might forget to use this and it's going to be a waste. So make sure you use this in the time that you're given so that it does not expire in your inventory and that you don't waste the currency that you spent, because there are so many other things that you can buy instead. Like I said, other than that, I just leave all of this be and wait until the weekly reset again. And then in my teapot, I have set up a little forging station here, so I'm gonna go here and I can claim all the things that I forged. This is a great way to set up and multitask because these can cook while you're doing other things and you're not just sitting around and waiting. So I'm gonna go and obtain all of them and then wait for tomorrow's reset. If you're wondering why this teapot looks absolutely hideous, it's because it's my farming teapot. As you can see, I've just laid out a bunch of stuff for the adeptal energy. Like here, there really is no design or concept that I'm going for, and it gets worse per island actually. Like this, I just laid out everything because they give you a lot of adeptal energy. And it's really helpful just to have one farming teapot because then you can guarantee that there is one teapot that's always giving you the max amount of resources. Specifically the realm currency is what I mean, since you get realm currency based on your adeptal energy, and if your adeptal energy is at the highest, you get the most realm currency. As you can see here, floating abode has the highest adeptal energy compared to all of these other ones, and that's because all these other ones are actually just decorative realms, and I use them for experimenting with my teapot and a bunch of designs. If you're interested in seeing what I've made in the teapot, check out the Teapot Tales series. I will be adding to those later because I am enjoying the teapot and creating more things. But my Teapot Tales series basically gives out all my useful tips that I use and just tours of my teapot in general. Anyways, here we are back in Inazuma because this is where I'd like to wrap up the video. I am so happy to be back and to see all of you. If you do have any questions about the video or like me to clarify anything, please put those questions in the comments. I will try to get to as many as possible. Again, thank you everyone for your support over this time. So far, it has been great getting back into Genshin and everything, and more videos will definitely be coming in the future, so stay tuned. If you would like to request a video, or if there's something that you need, please put it in the comments because I want to make sure your requests and your needs are met. If there's something you need me to cover, again, put it in the comments and I will try and make that happen. But other than that, thank you so much for watching the video. It means a lot to me to have you here, and I will see you in our next video. Have a wonderful day, good luck on your pulse and your Genshin journey, and I will see you soon. Bye!